I think we'll go ahead and get started. Since we're good. So, well, anyway, welcome to our kickoff Elders Promote the Vote All Ages Phone Banking session. This is a joint effort of Elders Climate Action, the Environmental Voter Project, and Elders for Sound Democracy, a program of Elders Action Network. Let me start by welcoming you here and giving you a chance to hear from our very special guest. So I'm Pam Vergun. I'm the project manager for Elders Promote the Vote. I have a multifaceted background that includes being a social science researcher, a policy type, a traditional storyteller, and the only dual federal plaintiff mom. I and my special guest today are the All and Juliana et al., the federal youth climate lawsuit. Before we turn to our guest, I'll give you just a really quick view of the project, especially for those of you who haven't been part of these calls before. This work that we're doing is really created by the Environmental Voter Project, who has been working since 2015 using long-term evidence-based election-focused approach to building the power of the environmental movement. Elders Climate Action, ECA for short. ECA alone has reached more than 1 million voters since we began our partnership with EVP in 2017. We were joined in 2020 by Elders for Sound Democracy. Together, we have contacted over 9.5 million voters. All of these voters are people who are identified as likely to think that the climate is the most important issue facing us. The voters we have mobilized for local, state, and federal elections are the ones who typically don't vote or have never voted before. They registered to vote, they care about the climate, but something has been keeping them from voting. And our goal and our success has been to turn them into super voters, getting them to turn out for every election so that their voices will be paid attention to by the people running for elections and in office. We've now worked on over 1,500 elections so far. Thank you so much for being part of this one. Legally, important thing to remember is that EVP and ECA must remain nonpartisan. We don't endorse or talk with voters about specific parties, candidates, or even policies. For making calls, the great thing is that we know through randomized controlled trials that the nonpartisan messaging we use is proven to increase turnout among unlikely voters. Our goal is to make sure that every elected official, regardless of political party or level of office, must be a climate environmental leader to get elected and stay elected. We'll say a little bit more about this after the following too, but I just want to give you kind of a big picture. Now to our guest. Vic Barrett is one of the 21 young people suing the US federal government for action on the climate crisis through the lawsuit known as Juliana et al. Versus US, nicknamed G3Gov. And a side thing I mentioned, you might have seen some of the posts said, if you brought a friend with you, I have a kind of cool special gift for you. It's a special link. So put your name and your friend's name and your email in the chat if you've done that. Most of these youth have become full-fledged adults since the lawsuit began back in 2015. In addition to being a federal youth climate plaintiff, Vic is a network organizer at PowerShift Network and a really cool person to hang out with. Thank you so much for joining us, Vic. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. Always love a good phone bank. It means so much. So definitely really want to super enthusiastically thank you for coming out today. And any other days that you guys get to phone bank. I worked on democracy organizing for the Alliance for Climate Education for a while, in Wisconsin specifically, during the gubernatorial election. So yeah, I have a lot of appreciation for people just showing up, making phone calls. I think we can forget the little impact that a little interaction can have. And so I'm glad that you guys are holding on to that. A little bit about myself. I'm 24 years old. I'm actually turning 25 this Sunday. I've been a part of the Juliana versus United States lawsuit since I was 15, 16 years old. I've been doing climate organizing since I was a freshman in high school, mostly working on education and justice. Um, I spent a lot of time as a young person trying to engage with elected officials and having a hard time with that because of my age, but always having appreciation for like the power that they can hold and the power that we hold in putting them into office. Um, and so that's something that's really important to me. Uh, Pam is the mother of one of my co-plaintiffs on the case. And so we've gotten to know each other for a long time. She's definitely seen me grow up in a lot of ways and in the movement. Um, yeah, so I think I just want to emphasize and like share with you guys how important it is to me as a young person, especially that we have adult allies who are willing to talk to folks to make sure that the people that we're getting people in office and that they're at least trying to be a part of the democratic process. I think we don't pay attention to that often, and it's something that we should pay more attention to. It's been a roller coaster, being a youth plaintiff on the case, being a young organizer. But at the end of the day, the point is that we're all trying to protect what we love in the ways that we can. And so you guys being on this phone bank is one of the first steps to that, and a really important step to that. Um, like I said, I've been in this movement since I was 14 years old, so I have a lot of experience in just what it looks like to either get people elected or I guess what it looks like to sue the government. And I think that all the routes that we can take to make change are important. I'll tell you a little bit more about the lawsuit. So basically in 2015, 21 young people sued the US federal government on the basis that um, the US federal government has known since going all the way back to the 1950s that fossil fuel infrastructure could be catastrophic to the climate. And we try to focus on the fact that the government has taken direct action to perpetuate the climate crisis despite knowing that. And that's why talking about elections and talking about democracy is so important because we are also accountable to who our leaders are. Um, they're the most accountable, but we're accountable for getting into office. So the more we can encourage folks to, you know, really get out there and really vote and really be active in their communities, the best. I always say that it all comes down to who your neighbor is and taking care of your neighbor. And phone banking is a form of that. So this is really exciting, and I'm glad everyone's here to do that. Um, yeah, it's funny, like starting from the experience of being youth plaintiffs, running around in different cities, always trying to get waffles or something when all of our chaperones are like, can you just stay
Eugene.
still and just calm down? Um,
Eugene.
especially, yeah, yeah, in Eugene. Off the wall. But um, yeah, having that experience with other young people has always been important for me. It has been really formidable for me. And even though this is like a brief session that you guys will have together, of just making phone calls, community is what's at the basis of like what we're all trying to accomplish, right? So I think that that's something definitely to keep in mind. Um, and yeah, and I feel like I really also want to emphasize the allyship of, I think we've all seen that the youth climate movement and the youth movement in general on so many different intersections and so many different issues have been rising up for a while now. And it's really encouraging for me to see all of you here, to know that I always say if you're going to congratulate or say that the youth movement is what's really important, that at least you join in, and that's what all of you guys are doing right here, because it's working for democracy works for posterity. And community works for posterity, and connecting with each other works for posterity. Um, so yeah, Pam, I don't know if you want me to touch on anything else, but
That's great. If you have anything else you want to say, go for it. But otherwise, we'll get folks starting to phone bank.
okay, awesome. Yeah, and also I guess I'll just add, like I said, I was a democracy organizer for a while. I know phone banking can feel like a lot, but like I said, each one of those little interactions means the world, even if it's a short call, a long call, whatever you get out of it. Um, it's us just engaging in our shared experience of being in community with each other. So good luck.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Vic. Have a wonderful rest of your day.